Last night, Mrs. Ellen and I had the occasion of going to something which was kind of interesting. I got to tell you the story. It was a SAG Awards viewing party. Never been to one of those. Oh, we'll go. I looked in. I thought, wow. First of all, it's packed, just packed at this theater in Chelsea. I mean, it was just packed with people. So we did this thing called the red carpet. This was worth the price of admission right there. Never saw anything like it. So we got in there. They said, dress festive. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I'm always, I don't want to say a people person. I'm not a people person. Well, sort of. But I love to watch people. And I saw people that I definitely think we were the oldest people there. I think. I don't know, maybe it's older. But it was a cacophony of people, I guess from the entertainment, I guess. I've been in, I guess, SAG after. So, well, it was after then, because we're since 93, right? So I think it's pretty good. You know what I mean? It's all right. So I went there and I'm seeing this, and as we're standing outside because it's freezing, I didn't want to bring a coat with me because there's no coat check. I'm not going to walk around with a coat. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, we had to kind of wait. And walking behind us, I want you to imagine this guy who's about 6'3", weighs 90 pounds, black guy, wearing a hat, something like it's like he went to the prize closet and got the funkiest hat. You don't know what it is. Is it Egyptian? I don't know what the hell it is. It was just this weird hat with a ball on top of it and all this other kinds of. Anyway, he does that, and lo and behold, he starts screaming, singing, "I will not be ignored." I don't know what he's singing. It's not from a song. He basically is saying, "I'm a lunatic." And I thought, how did this guy get in here? What does he think this is? A soup line? I don't know what the hell he did. And there's one rule about New York is no matter who's behind you, no matter what you think, you do not say anything. You do not say, "Hey, you want to keep it down? There's people around here." No. Nay. Not today. You don't know who's got a gun, who's got a knife. You just keep your mouth shut. So we kept our mouth shut. And I thought, but this guy is some homeless street lunatic. He looked about, maybe not. It's a nice jacket, sort of like, I don't know. And he walks, he goes, "Hey," and he starts knowing people. Whatever it's that. I thought, he's a lunatic. Or is he? Or is he somebody just acting like, whatever. He's just one of those people that's, I don't know. And there we have it last night. There we have it again. And if you have not seen this, I want you to make a point. And I recognize that, there are some folks in our group. When I say our group, it's like, this was the theater group last night. The entertainment group, you got that crowd. I'll tell you more about that later because I don't think you're interested in it. But I could spend an hour on what I saw. People and posing and it's not enough. I find this fascinating. There is this sense of it is not enough to be gay in the entertainment business. You've got to be, hey, Monty Rock the Third, RuPaul, loud, hey, and I'm wondering, what, where did this happen? And then you look over, and there are people, I guess you used to call them lesbian, I guess, couples, and they're very, very quiet. I'm thinking I can hang with the lesbians a little bit easier than this, Why is this artificial flamboyance and this make-believe excitement, why is that part and parcel with the expression of a sexuality? That's another topic that I could go on and on about. When did this start? When? Okay, Oscar Wilde. Fine, maybe the I don't know. It was. But that's in that part of that section. The other part was we watching the first two parts of the Wendy Williams documentary. Please watch that. Tell me what you think. So complicated, so issue oriented. I could do 2 weeks on that one. Whereas most people would say, ew, and they wouldn't see it. They wouldn't understand how complicated this story is. It is complicated, really complicated. She seems to be crazy, but is she that crazy? Did they put this out to support those who want to see her, to support those who want to see her finances cut? I mean, she's clearly crazy. She has lymphedema. Her feet are swollen. She has Graves' disease. This is hyperthyroidism, proptosis, where her eyes are bugging out like they're going to just pop out. And it gives that crazy look. And I thought, if I didn't know better, the people who want her to be subject to the guardianship, which is what all this is about, wanted this out, including her family and sons and her ex-husband, because she looks like a lunatic, and it hasn't even gotten started yet. That's that story, which we can be talking about, which most people I know fail to understand the complexity of the issue, the genius of the issue, the story. How crazy is crazy in view of, and this idea of mental illness and the entertainment agency. Third issue. I'm glad to see Robert Downey Jr. is going to get Best Supporting Actor, and he deserves it, but not for this. He phoned this one in. Anybody can do it. Okay, he shaved his head. This guy is such a great actor. In Chaplin, Tropic Thunder was the greatest ever, but nobody will give him credit for that because it's kind of his. He got a pass on that. They probably said, "Okay, Bobby D, listen, we'll let you go on this." He did blackface, but it was so brilliant. We understood it. Everybody understood it. They had to say, "Okay, this obviously is not racist." It's they had to, probably reluctantly. Mrs. Ellen and I knew his father very well, Robert Downey Sr. And I'm sure he's thinking, I wonder if his father could have ever seen this, because his father was a producer in his own right anyway. But it's about Oppenheimer. Quick show of hands. I have a movie I'm going to put you out called Bibi. It's based on Bibi Netanyahu. And it chronicles the storied bravery of the IDF in trying to wipe out Hamas in Gaza on October the 7th, showing brave IDF soldiers and commandos going into hospitals and flooding tunnels with seawater to get those Hamas killers. Has some of the best actors ever. This is a hypothetical now. Killian, what's his face? Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, George Clooney. He's got everybody you can imagine. Gary Oldman, I think, is the best actor alive today. Daniel Day-Lewis, too athletic. My name is. Come on, stop it. But for pound, just I think Gary Oldman is it. The best actor ever was, of course, Spencer Tracy. Nobody. He just the guy could read an envelope and anyway. that story wouldn't be made. About Bibi, great acting. We don't give a damn about that. We're not going to do some movie that extols the bravery and the virtues of IDF, of Israeli officers. Oh, no, 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 no. But why not? They've fallen in love with this Oppenheimer story, and it's a bunch of bullshit. Robert Downey Jr., shaved his head or do it. Okay, fine. Killian, what's his name, lost weight. Okay, fine. Matt Damon. I'm sorry, Matt Damon. He might be a good actor, but whenever I see him, I say, oh, Damon. Wait a minute, there's Sparky. Wait a minute, always piquant. Watch what he says very carefully. Sparky says, funny how in Victorian times, since you weren't supposed to like sex anyway, in a way it didn't matter whether you were gay or straight, you were expected to close your eyes and think of England. Very good. Yes. Touche, mon frere. Touche indeed. Don Howell says, break out the bourbon. Today is my 59th birthday. Sadly, it is the first without my mother who passed away in June. 2023. Well, let me tell you something, my friend. Danny Howell, Danny Howell, happy birthday to you. Let's give Danny a big birthday. Welcome around, Danny. Send your love to him. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Thank you, Danny. And happy birthday. Many, many more to you, my friend. You're on the cusp of 60, which is the new 58. Anyway. Thank you. Break out the bourbon. By the way, I can't wait. I'm getting from my new package from Puckered Butt hot sauce, this huge collection of sauces, including, I think, Pepper X. Got some Reaper and some that is the connoisseur's connoisseur. So you can, interestingly enough, the owner of that company used peppers to stamp out alcoholism, which I think all your friends agree you have. And I'm kidding, of course. Anyway, happy birthday. Oppenheimer was a commie. I don't know what people have a hard time with this. He basically did this stuff. The story is complete nonsense. And what I want to tell you one thing before we get to the story, if there's one thing I teach you, show you, provide for you, if there's one thing, just one thing I can make you grasp and embrace, it is this very simple thing about gradations. It's like, well, for example, what is love? Love for your country, love for your family, love for your pet, romantic love, love of a concept, love of a team, love of a sport, love versus admiration versus infatuation. Stop. That's the way I live in gray. Make America gray again. I love this. Yeah, he was a commie, but the commies were different. Don't you understand that in the left, during that time, coming out of World War I, there were people who realized that there was an absolute, it was economic capitalism as we knew it, posed this absolute, this brutal inferiority to the system of the rest of the world. And let's hear it for Russia, who really won the war. The Russians beat Hitler. The Russians were fighting fascisms. The Russians, Russia. It's a different story than what we're doing now. We didn't have this Cold War then. So these people came out of it. And if you don't understand that, there's no way to. Did you see that picture yesterday of Trump with Javier Milei at the CPAC? Wasn't that great? Do you know who Milei is? No. Do you know anything about him? No. You ever know about the World Economic Forum? What? They didn't, but they just see him because he's got funky hair and he's hugging Trump, and they think he's a great guy. People don't say, well, yeah, but you can still be good for Trump, but not like him. This is called gray. We live in gray. There are gradations to things. So the whole story about, you got to understand, about Oppenheimer is bullshit. That's not true. The way they say it. He was not this. He was this weird, kind of a strange person who was very, but it was okay at first. But everybody from Einstein to, who was it? To Szilard to certainly him later on to everybody who worked on it, up to and including Dwight Eisenhower, MacArthur, Stimson, Curtis LeMay, uh, everybody was it MacArthur, Eisenhower, LeMay. They all said, "No, don't drop it. No, 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 no need to." And Truman said, I got to drop it because I got to make sure those Ruskies know what we have." Because Truman, that's another one too. You like Truman? You sure about that? No, you don't. Gray, gray, gray. Some was good, some was doesn't work like that. But he was the one who said, "No, no, we're going to do it." And the best part was Klaus Fuchs. Stalin knew it. Stalin already knew all about that. Is that in that movie? No, of course not. It's about this romantic, the color and the lights and the overacting. So I could have put the same people, and Sparky would. I'm sure Sparky and I would be in the front row. BB. I don't know who would play BB. Maybe Kelsey Grammer. Forget what people who look like it, but or Emmanuel Lewis, TV's Webster. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't go. Would you see that, Sparky? The brave IDF going in and no, lefties would hate that. But it's true. Says who? Says they. It's good acting. Yeah, but it's not true. You didn't care about Oppenheimer. What do you care? What are you talking about? How many times do I see things in movies that have nothing to do with law? And I'm thinking, this is a great movie. This is the worst. If I did a show on surgery, and I did a guy with psychic surgery where I pretended to stick my hand in his gut and pulled out the tumor, they would say, that's great acting. You can say, there's no such thing as psychic surgery. Don't you understand how this works? Entertainment world is a fantasy world. And they're not lefties. Let me say this again, and listen to me carefully. They're children. Listen carefully to these very important words from our sponsor. But I want you to think about this in the meantime. They're children. And who are the people who are really doing it? Who are paying? Well, let me tell you one guy who should be getting an award for temerity and tenacity and intrepidity. And that's Mike Lindell. And you know his product. Well, it is time yet again, my friends, to hail and salute our great friends at mypillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you'll get a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I know, a free gift. It's a tautology, so sue me. But first, please listen. What are we talking about here? Down comforters, flannel sheets, Giza Dream bed sheets, My Pillow 2.0 sheets, slippers, percales, towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, name it. Literally name it. Items to help you luxuriate and relax. And they're monster sellers. Slippers. My slippers. That's right. Slip-ons, moccasins. Think about it. What do they do at My Pillow? They make things real soft and plush and comfy. How perfect. Now here's the link. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, or MyPillow.com /Solidus or Virgil /Lionel, or call 800-645-4965. And watch how fast Mike answers the phone. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, simply and absolutely the best. Yesterday, I was watching again the absolutely horrid, and by the way, when I say watching, it was sent to me, sent by virtue of this, whatever is on YouTube or whatever. By the way, YouTube is, let me make sure people understand it. YouTube is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It is, put it this way. It is my channel. It's what I watch exclusively. I watch, with the exception of like last night, I had to program the quote DVR for the first time to watch this Wendy Williams. I have no time. I don't watch anything on regular TV. This was worthwhile though, because I spend most of my time on YouTube, and it sends things to me. It sends interesting. It knows what I'm watching. And I was watching I'm doing my private channel, and I was discussing this piece on AI that is so good, but it would be a snooze fest for most people. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Sparky says, you might be right. You might be right. Equivalency shouldn't be drawn between World War II and present day Gaza. In World War II, they were relatively discreet of leaving alleged or allied, rather, public oblivious, real time. Nowadays, they're open and notorious. Well, it's also Sparky, which is a very interesting thing. And by the way, I appreciate that. Sparky, how do you think people would have handled Doolittle's raid? Well, let's talk about this. What's the difference between World War II and Gaza? Oh, seriously, what is it? Excuse me. Based upon us. What do you think it is? What do you think that is? What's the difference? What's the difference? Tell me. When you're in Israel, if you're in Tel Aviv, if you're in Sderot, if you're in Beersheba, or you're in, Haifa, wherever you are, how do you look at Hamas? What do you think if you were there? What do you think if you were in there and you say, what do you think about settlers? What do you say? Well, come on. Settlers. A bunch of people saying, we're going to move in here. Who are you? We're the settlers. Get out. No, they're kind of like people say they're squatters. If you're in Israel, you know what I'd probably say? Like, well, this is our place. I mean, let's face it. You know, we say nationalism, and we're the best and we're the greatest, and get out, and right? They do it. Don't you understand how that works? If you don't understand how people think, what's the point? They are telling you that Hamas is an existential threat to their everything, and they don't want to hear from you talking about, well, you got to put a proportional threat. No. There's no proportional anything. So anyway, I'm just saying it's you have to get it. And while we're on this subject, which is what I'm listening to this CPAC, I'm thinking these people don't have anything to do. I love this Jack Posobiec, probiotic, whatever his name is. I don't know who this guy is, but God bless him. But he's a Christian. Okay. I've met a few. I know what that's about. But no. He knows what Jesus thinks. No, not you. He does. And the first thing Jesus would say, if I said, well, you're not going to believe this. What is it, Jesus? Well, I don't know if you want to hear this. Why? They kill. I don't know what the purpose of your trip was to this planet, because I don't think anybody got the message. I don't think they got a message. What do you mean? Well, I'm just saying, I don't think they got the message. I don't think they are paying attention to any of this stuff. And I do not think that these folks, honest to God, understand anything. Do you hear what I'm saying? Nothing. I don't think they understand anything. I don't think they're paying attention. I don't think they get it. I just don't think they understand. Because death to them is like, it doesn't really mean anything. Murder, death, children, infants, fetuses, capital punishment, war. Nothing. Transhumanism, torture, incarceration, the death penalty. I mean, I really got to tell you something. I really, and I say that, I'm not saying it to be sacrilegious. I'm saying, what would you really tell Jesus? What would you tell Jesus? What would you say? What are they doing? I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand this. I don't understand any of this stuff. Why do they do? I don't know. We're doing a movie where they're celebrating a guy who killed 250,000 people with bombs. And by the way, the one who killed more people is we did with regular fire bombs. Jesus. No, I'm not saying that as an exclamation. By the way, how does it feel like to have your name as a Jesus? What if it be Sparky? Sparky, damn it. Sparky. What if your name was, I'm sorry about that, but we realized that Japan was wooden. There was no concrete, and it was all wood. Everything was wood. Temples and this and that. We firebombed it. Curtis LeMay came down and figured, I'll show you how to do that. We killed more people. We destroyed more property with plain old bombs and incendiaries than we did with the World War II. But you know why? We said, well, December 7th. October the 7th, December the 7th, yesterday, December 7th. Huh? Once we get it in our head that that's okay, you did it, we're done with you. Oh, we're through. Once we feel justified, you're through. We are done with you. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We are so done with you. You never want to be at the receiving end of us being right about something. Oh, dear God, no. Dear God, no, don't do that. Oh, no. You don't know what it is. So that's that. Okay. So we had this thing I was going to tell you to start. There's so many things I want to talk to you about this. A SAG thing, which I talk about on my private channel more, and just what I saw and how I don't fit into any of this stuff. Anyway, we walked in, we did the red carpet, and got the hell out of there. Sorry, not interested. Which is okay, which is groovy, because I'm not into that. You know, I'm just me. I'm not showbiz. Anyway, so then we have that. We have people. How about great Nikki Haley? By the way, how does Nikki Haley feel? Nikki Haley says, I know exactly what's going on. Nikki Haley says, you know how much money I got in my my coffers? My campaign account that I could spend theoretically forever while I investigate running again for my campaign. Oh, travel, meals, a driver, an office, limo. I got it all. Airfare. I'm always running. So it's the greatest deal in the world. I'll go anywhere. I'll run for office in whatever in Madrid. I don't care. It's about money. I'm doing great. I put my name out. I'm going to be on more boards. I'm going to be Boeing and this and Bechtel and blah blah blah. They want me to be on all the. I'm solid. I am solid. I don't care about that. Don't feel bad for me. Oh no. But it is a kind of a kick. You're your own state, because your state knows you better than anybody else. We can't say that about Chuck Schumer. We have a senator named Kristen Gillibrand. We never see her. I don't even know I think, is she still there? She's just gone. Like Pete Booty giggity, just gone. Now, I will tell you something. And this is the absolute truth. Whether you want to believe this or not, this may bother you, depending on who you are. But if you're watching me, probably it won't. Number one, Donald Trump has not aged we're looking at, for 2015, he really started when he came down that thing. So we're looking at 9 years, roughly, right? And normally, when you get older, like when you're, like, you notice when you're a kid, like, hey, all of a sudden he's so cute, and then boom, hey, boy, he got big, and then he kind of looks the same, And then you start, like, you see people in high school, like, boy, the ugly duckling turns into something else, and then when you get into the back nine of your life, then you really see, whoa, who knew? I like when they say, what do they look like now? It's so terrible. They always say, look at these beautiful actresses, and now look at them. What does this mean? But anyway, Trump, remember how Obama he absolutely, this guy aged. Remember, the hair went gray, and good for him, he didn't die, but he and George W. Bush, oh my God. Now, I understand that, Trump does a little spray tan and, he looked great when his hair was white, looked fantastic, but it's okay. He looks the same, though. He looks great. He's quick. When you see him with Malay and you hear them talk, you realize this is how good this guy is. He's an anomaly. Whether you like him or not, doesn't really matter. He looks terrific. Biden is just cratering. If put it this way, there's a free fall, and then his free fall is speeding up. It's getting even worse. Okay. So then, as we watch this horror develop, he has something that no other politician has in my lifetime. He goes in and he does something. Why were the Beatles that great? Why? Part because they were great, but also they're like dogs start barking. When one dog barks, the other dog barks, and when a kid starts crying, the other kid cries. There's a group, it's Gustave Le Bon. People thought it was hip to see who could out love the Beatles. This is a different story. Sparky says, had a barber and bank teller with concentration camp serial tattoos when I was a kid. Many Americans knew of concentration camps, but weren't familiar with atrocities until the Holocaust miniseries. That is true. And by the way, never do this, but understand the difference between a concentration camp and a death camp. These are what? I said that the other day. I said, there are differences. Like, wait, what? It's like, no, I'm not saying that. People don't even want to know that. No, you got to get certain distinctions. Because when you say a concentration camp, it's a different story. Now, watch this. Ready for this? Watch what I'm doing. See this? Boom. Concentration versus a death camp. You have the types of camps. This is from the Holocaust Explained. Concentration camps. A concentration camp is a place where people are concentrated and imprisoned without trial. Inmates are usually exploited for labor and kept in harsh conditions, though this is not always the case. Then there's concentration camps and extermination camps. It is key to separate concentration from extermination camps. And it goes on and on. Extermination camps were used to murder. Now, I hate people. I'm sorry to bring this up to people, but this is absolutely the truth. You want to talk about this or not? The biggest problem, and Sparky, I think you'll agree with me, the biggest problem that people have is with the word genocide. Genocide, by the way, genocide is the origin. Genocide origin. It's the 1940s. Genocide. Yes, genocide. It comes from. I think it was Raphael Lemkin. It was a new term and a new. Yes. Genocide, a new term and a new concentration. So it's new. And by the way, whenever you get into things, you can learn about a society, about how words mean. I remember, I'm old enough to remember that. Oh, what the hell is this? Oh my Lord! Look at these reactions. Did you see that? I forgot to turn this off. All of a sudden, it said something, and there's. I'm talking about death camps, and all of a sudden, there's fireworks. I did not do this. This is the reaction setting, which is so nice. You're not, how do I say this? You're not demeaning something by wanting to understand how things work. So when genocide came out, the word, people heard this and they imagined genocide. And they thought of cattle cars and extermination and this horror. And yes, that's a part of it, but that's not it. That's good that you know that. But under the genocide treaty, and I think it's a wrong term, but if you understand truly what genocide means, it means, by the way, the elimination or the targeting of a group in part or in whole, and not necessarily death, but for continued attack, for removal, displacement. Then there's ethnic cleansing and these words. And I promise you, let me stop right there. The first thing I do is I run to the dictionary. Tell me what that means. What's the difference? What's the difference? I told you before, we have what they call aggravated battery. Aggravated battery is a term which used to come from used to be called mayhem. Mayhem was a term that was used in common law anytime I did something that would disable you from fighting. I took out an eye, I lopped off an arm, I did something that prevented you from fighting. That was mayhem versus murder. It was fascinating to me. When I was a kid, I remember black. I remember colored, Negro, colored, Black was later on. Well, yeah, black. Believe it or not, when James Rouse says, I'm black and I'm proud, say it loud. Black? Oh, black was, that's far too, not far. No. Just stay away from black. Don't say that. White. Well, white's okay, but don't say black. Well, no, black's okay. Then there was Afro. I mean, the Afro hairstyle, Afro-American, which technically speaking, I don't know if Afro or Africo-American, but they can Franco-American, Sino-American, Russo-American. Afro, the O, I think would be more correct. But anyway, it was Afro-American, then African-American, then people of color, and then, there's all kinds of variations of it. I remember reading years ago when I was a kid, this distinction or this elevation of the etymology or the transition of people who work with the death, a grave digger, undertaker, mortician, funeral director, thanatician. They were saying this is going to be from Greek thanatos for death. Never took off, but that's what they were thinking. So there's all these derivations. I have the gay folks. When gay, I don't know how long gay's been around, but I kind of remember later on, queer was considered negative. Now it's embraced. But then there are some groups of people that we can say certain things and certain things you cannot. If you're a member of a group, there's a fellow who does a great. Have you ever seen him on TV? He shows, hey, how you doing? He goes, and brush your hair. He's this kid he's a young guy. And he uses every Italian-American epithet there is. He can say it, but you can't. It's like, I don't want to go into the derivation of the N word. So what am I saying? Through that convoluted explanation, to you perhaps, is the following. We have to explain to people that you may not like the word genocide, but under the treaty, that's the word that's being used. And that's the word that that's the word that is preferred. That's the word that's used. That's the word that is under the treaty used to determine these things. Other people have a hard time with it. It's like, well, I don't care whether you have a hard time with it or not. That's the way that is. So, but the thing is, nobody understands the perspective of this. Nobody grasps it. Why? Because you have to understand grays and nuances, and you have to understand what people think, how we think to them, how they think. Remember, you're in a goldfish bowl. You're on this table. You can't see the other bowl. They can't see you. In your world, you see things that, well, it's very clear. We're the good guys. They're the bad guys. We live in a world, and by the way, the reason why I think we look so stupid is that we have this idea of complete and total arrogance. We went to Iraq, Libya, we destroyed it, Afghanistan, and then just sort of left. I don't know. We're the only country that's amnesic. The subject of today's piece is the American justice system mocked and ridiculed by an arrogant Queen Fani. I don't think anybody yet really understands that is the one that I would jump on. She is please don't take this the wrong way. I know people are going to do it. She is the Willie Horton she's the Lee Atwater. What do you mean? Willie Horton was the story. This is what destroyed Michael Dukakis. Lee Atwater, who was a partner in the old days with Roger Stone and I don't know who else. There was another one, I think. Could it be Segretti? I don't think so. But anyway, this was a picture. There's this terrible. Remember, look at the graphics. There's this bad mugshot. He went out on furlough, I think, and raped somebody. It might have been. Was he on? I'll let you look at that. It might have been on Dukakis' watch as governor. I don't know. Anyway, Willie Horton, huh? Yeah, I know, but I don't know if he was from Massachusetts or if it was somebody else or another state. I know it was Dukakis. Remember poor Kitty who was alcoholic and she drank mouthwash. It was so sad. Remember that one? Dukakis was. But the point is, people said you're pointing to Willie Horton because he's black. Yep. But it turns out he was a rapist. Yeah, but you're saying you're picking him out because he's black. Well, that was true. But do you think a stockbroker? Do you think some guy from, some Merrill Lynch insider trader? I don't think that's going to capture the idea. So anyway, so here comes Fani Wilson. Fani Wilson, Willis rather, is the perfect example of arrogance. Now, people are going to say, well, she's black, but that's not it. But that's what people are going to say, because remember, we're up against a group of people who will immediately try to disqualify you because of either who you are, you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a nut, you're a MAGA, whatever it is. They always find a way to get around who you are and what you're saying by who you are. And Fani Willis is, when you see her in action, you cannot believe the level of arrogance, the level of entitled meanness. Stand by for 1 second, dear friends, as we listen to this critical word about what happens if all of a sudden there's a disaster and you and your family can't eat. Let's talk about a very serious subject: emergency food. That's right, emergency food. I know. At first blush, it's difficult for most people to think about something that they just take for granted ever reaching emergency status. We're used to stores always being open, deliveries always made, no supply chain disasters, no ransomware catastrophes, none of that stuff. Nothing shutting down our gas stations, right? No trucking strikes, no war, no protests from farmers, nothing catastrophic in terms of weather. Nope, that can't happen to us. And I understand it's a defense mechanism that we have, because the idea of ever not being able to eat or locate food is seemingly incomprehensible. Well, it's not. That's why it's time for you to go to my site, preparedwithlionel.com. Preparedwithlionel.com has the deal of deals for you. Now, take it as a starter set. You've been putting off emergency food for too long. Some people still have a thing about prepping as though preparing for emergency is foolish. Now, right now, you can save $60 on a 4-week emergency supply kit. This is unbelievable. 16 varieties with a 25-year shelf life, 2,000 calories a day in 2 beautifully modular buckets that weigh 38 pounds total. These are waterproof and they're perfectly stackable. 4 weeks, a month. Now, be honest, could you go a week without any trips to any store? I'm not talking about having stuff in your cabinet. I'm not talking about banana chips and jerky. I mean food, real food. So go right now to preparedwithlionel.com, right now, right this moment, preparedwithlionel.com, preparedwithlionel.com. You'll thank me. Trust me. Let's go back to Willie Horton. Imagine this. In 74, Willie Horton had, I don't know if we, Willie is 72, by the way. He's still with us. On June the 6th, by the way, he was a robber and terrible person. In June, he was released as a part of a weekend furlough program in Massachusetts. And then it turns out that he was in Maryland. He twice raped a woman after pistol whipping, stabbing, binding, and gagging her fiance. He then stole the car belonging to the man he had assaulted. He was later shot and captured. Okay, fine. This was Willie Horton. And this was like, oh boy. And people, of course, said that this was all about race, and Willie Horton was this scary looking black guy. And now, if I'm sure Lee Atwater would have said, well, of course, but that happens to be the fact. Yeah, but it's because he's black. Well, it may be because he's black, but maybe that's something we have to discuss. But irrespective, that's the truth. Now, Fani Willis, if you watch 5 minutes of her, people will say, I can't. Who is that? Who's that? That's the district attorney who wants to put President Trump and 15 other people or so in prison indefinitely for racketeering. This woman. Really? This woman? Yep. What do you think about that? Huh? How you like that? You think she's got any problems with that? I don't know. Any qualms? Nope. That's her. Yep. You can't believe it unless you see her. Now, one could argue, is it because she's black? I really think not. It's the arrogance. It's the way she talks. Nobody looks at Letitia James and says, "Oh, look at this woman." No, because at least Letitia James is gentlewomanly. She's not, you may disagree with what she's doing, but she doesn't act like a fool in front of people. Jack Smith doesn't do that. Other people don't do that. I mean, it doesn't happen. There's no Roberta Kaplan, I think, or her name is, who represented E. Jean Carroll, didn't act like this. No, this is clearly a once in a lifetime. You never see this. And this woman is so deranged and so disconnected from reality, this entitled lunatic, that she's basically handing it over to people who, in any event. So, what does this mean? Well, that's a good question. And the thing which you got to understand is that these are realities that are sitting there and being handed to you. Now, you can do one of two things. You can talk about them or not. You can exploit them or not. You can, and what I want you to understand more than anything else is to utilize the words of and the theory behind realism. Remember, when people ask me, what is your political affiliation? I always quote Balzac, because anybody can use Balzac. The name is okay with me. But I'm with the opposition. And I'm always, no matter where I am, I'm with the opposition, because there is no group I've ever found that I agree with. There's always, no, not these group. I'm with the other group. Who? The other group. Okay, let's go to the Republicans. Nah, I'm not with these. Like CPAC, I can't handle these people. They don't even know. It's like, put it this way, CPAC is to conservatism, or whatever you want to call this, what F Troop was to Ken Burns' Civil War documentary. I mean, they're kind of the same, but not really. Larry Storch is not my idea of U.S. Grant, or Ken Burns for that matter. So you got to ask yourself this question: how are we going to do it? Well, we understand reality and what people think like, and when it comes to running for office and what people really care about and the way they act. And I can't say this enough, but my reality may be a problem. My reality may hurt your feelings. My reality may do a lot of things, and you may not like it, but it is true. It is true. That's all. That's all I want to say. Georgia Sparky says Aaron Magruder's The Boondocks has a prison named Willie Horton Prison. You are a veritable proponent of that. Willie Horton was one of the greatest things ever. Willie Horton was just these are realities that happen. These are realities. And I'm not, I'm not apologizing for them. I'm accepting them. This is a reality. I will never forget the horrible things that people said about Chris Christie because he's fat. Now nobody will admit to this, but they hate him because he was fat. I literally could not believe what people were saying about he was fat. And for reasons I can't explain, maybe, I will say that if we've really devolved into that level, there's really no excuse for us. But that's just one of those things. This is one of those things. Reality tells me that's the way people are going to act. And if I wanted to go and if I wanted to say, if I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to speak with you, would you tell me why black people don't vote? What? Why do not black, and we'll start with that, but let's go to other groups of people. Why is it? Please tell me this. How dare you? Wait a minute. Remember, I'm always Googling. I'm always Googling. Always. You look at what is it? Why aren't we? How do I let people speak? How do I do it? How do I explain this? Look at this one. This is voter registration. This is one thing. This is from Bloomberg government. This is the share of 2020 of population. This is the share of 2020 population, and then reported voters. Just go look and see for yourself. Let me see. For example, this is 2020. The group of white alone, not Hispanic, not Latino, they represented 62.4% of the population, but 70.3% of reported voters. 60% of the population were 70% of the voters. Now let's look at Hispanic or Latino. Share of the 2020 U.S. population, 18 and older, 16.8%. Of those who voted, 11. Think about that. Black represented 12.7% of the population and 12.3% voted. So that was very interesting. And Asian, 6.3% of the population, 4.4% voted. How am I supposed to deal with this? What do I have to do? Why won't you vote? And what do I have to do? Do you feel like it's not worth it? Do you feel like it's a waste of time? Just tell me. Do you feel like it's a waste of time? Just tell me. Do you feel like this is some kind of a... Just tell me. Tell me. That's all it is. Just tell me what you think. Tell me what the truth is. That's all. Tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me how you think about this. Tell me the way. Tell me what you feel. What would get your attention? What is he not saying? Why won't you vote for Trump? Tell me. Why? Forget CPAC. I don't care about those people. They're going to vote anyway. I don't care about Kerry Lake. They're going to vote anyway. What do I care about Kerry Lake for? Why don't more black people vote? Why don't more Hispanics vote? How do we get them to vote for Trump? Anybody interested in that? No, of course not. They don't think about that. Why? Because by virtue of this social media mentality that we live in today, I don't know how to say this. We live in a world where it's just very, very sad. Now, Sparky and Dan Howell, by the way, Dan Howell, Sparky, you and I will agree, is Dan Howell's 59th birthday today. Let us make sure that we send our love and our respect to Dan Howell. He's a member of the family, member of the conspiratorium. God bless you for that. My friends, I may or I may not. I do not know. We have a very interesting group that we are going to be speaking with tonight. I can't really tell you about it, but I will. I don't. But they're like-minded folks. I got to figure some way out. Sundays we might have to change a little bit. So I don't know because we have a Zoom and we are working 24 hours a day to get out the good word. In any event, you must subscribe to the network, to the channel here. And you must hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. You must. There's no other way around it. Okay? And what I want you to do in the meantime, I want you to promise me, you're going to think. You're going to think about everything. You're going to question everything. You're going to say, I'm not satisfied with my rendition of the facts. I want to explore the truth. Whether the truth is considered problematic, soothing, or frightening. I want to know the truth. That's it. Okay? That's it. I love you, dear friends. I love you. It is always, once you know this, an honor to speak with you. You remind me of the fact that the fight is worth fighting, that yes, there are great people in the world who really get it, and you are they. All right? So anyway, have a great and glorious Sunday to you, my friends. Remember, we may or may not talk today. I don't know. It just depends. Or I may just do a regular video, but you've got to be subscribed so that you know what happens. You get to know them first. And what I do is, if ever I put a video up later, members get the video first. If so, that's part of the gig. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Again, Dan, happy birthday to you, brother. Have a great and glorious day. See you the next time. And don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you.